In this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. Broadcasting from a Montana wilderness fortress at the headwaters of the Missouri, this is Matt Christiansen Live.
The DOGE team that Musk has compiled, there are novices when it comes to their experience in understanding the federal government.
This is a 19-year-old high school graduate who has used the unfortunate nickname Big Balls. So that would be one way that we could refer to him. He is now working at Musk's behest inside DOGE. This individual has founded multiple companies, including one with another unfortunate name, Tesla.sexy LLC.
Wow.
As young as 19, the big balls here that Katie's talking about. How well does even Musk know these young men, do you think?
I have no idea. I think there's no vetting whatsoever.
Shut up, bitch!
I could make a joke. That's probably why he was hired, for all this ridiculous nonsense.
Bingo.
That is correct.
There's an expression in technology, it's a feature, not a bug. Wired has done an astonishing job here.
I doubt it.
You are fake news. Look at this fake news.
Jeez.
Very fake news.
She sounds hideous.
Well, she's a guy, so...
I agree with that.
Great story. Compelling and rich.
This is lit.
All right, America, go to the YouTube right now.
Dude, Matt straight up sucks.
How dare you?
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3...
I can't do it. We'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Matt Christiansen Live for Sunday, February 9th, 2025. Thank you for tuning in. Super Bowl Sunday, of course, if that even counts as a Super Bowl, because man, was that boring. But my sources say Taylor Swift got booed. That's something, I suppose, in terms of entertainment value. Thanks for patience with the delayed start. Great guest tonight. My old friend Bering will stop by in about a half hour. We're going to talk about big balls and the rest of the DOGE controversy. Before that, I want to look at all the court orders late in the week and in through the weekend, pausing, stopping, challenging DOGE activity. Later in the show, Democrats are still at it. On Wednesday, I talked about their Treasury Department stunt early in the week. Well, the same derangement crew marched on over to the Education Department on Friday morning and demanded entry. Well, this hero security guard just stands stoically right in their way, doesn't care, doesn't want to answer their questions. Maxine Waters is out there practically begging to be shot so she can become a martyr for this ambiguous cause, I guess. Just another amazing scene from desperate Democrats. The San Francisco Chronicle did a deep profile on the trans murder cult that's linked to that Border Patrol killing from a few weeks back. Apparently, they tried to start some sort of offshore tugboat tranny commune, as in they were living on a tugboat. It didn't work, shockingly. And for reasons related to it not working, they started killing people. And that partially explains what happened to that Border Patrol agent. I'll try to explain it. It's very complicated. Of course, I have Hoax Hate to close as well. And I'll catch up with your Super Chats. Of course, it's Sunday, so our friend Knuckle Hunky Buck will join us to read through Super Chat as usual. Speaking of, hey, if you enjoy the show, please consider supporting the show. You can do that for as little as $1 a month over on my website, mattchristiansenmedia.com, or mattis.gay, of course. Listener support is what keeps my operation running, and it is hugely appreciated. It not only helps me sustain, but it allows me to pay the people who help me out too. There are perks available for your support as well. mattchristiansenmedia.com/support, linked in the description. And we have to say hi to our friendly listener-owned business for the week as well, and that's our friends at Hope Innovations. Have you ever wanted to grow your own garden, but you didn't feel like you had the space? With food prices rising and chemicals being added to our food every day, you might consider adding a hydroponic garden system to your home. Grow clean and fresh produce all year round with the Eden Tower from Hope Innovations. When it comes to growing your own food, invest in the best system out there and discover the joy of regularly having freshly harvested salads, homegrown herbs, tomatoes, peppers, and more with your very own hydroponic system. Engineered to be elegant and practical, the Eden Tower stands above the competition with its patented cup system that allows you to drop a seed and go. You do not need a green thumb to easily grow delicious and nutritious food. You can get $200 off an Eden Tower hydroponics kit from Hope Innovations through a listener-exclusive link available only on my website. Head on over to mattchristiansenmedia.com/deals. Find the Hope Innovations link and click it for $200 off an Eden Tower hydroponics kit. Get started growing your own food easily and simply today. Find everything you need from our friends at Hope Innovations, plus other great offers from the rest of our friendly listener-owned businesses, including Hero Soap Company, Western Razor Company, Kinney-O Mountain Woodsmithing, and more. MattChristiansenmedia.com/deals. Deals by listeners, for listeners. And speaking of our friends at Hope Innovations, of course, quick reminder that the Tower of Babble Superchat hydroponics kit giveaway is still going on all month long, all through February. The most clever or most funny or most noteworthy super chats will be acknowledged with this special sounder.
I love you.
So remember, if you hear that sounder responding to your super chat, to win, I just need you to head over to my website, the giveaway page, mattchristiansenmedia.com/giveaway. It's linked in the description for you. Just need you to get me your email address that's associated with your super chat username. Otherwise, I have no way to contact you, since YouTube and Rumble and the rest don't give me a way to message super chatters. So, of course, I'm not going to share your email address. After the sweepstakes is over, it goes into the abyss, and nobody's going to find it or anything like that. And then in March, we'll draw from the pool to see who wins the $1,000 hydroponics kit from our friends at Hope Innovations, so you can grow delicious and nutritious food inside your house with ease, all because you made the most ridiculous gay joke in my chat or something like that. MattChristiansenmedia.com/giveaway for all the information. We just, the Super Bowl, I think, is still ongoing. I turned it off because it was so boring, but it is still ongoing. And a little piece of American history I didn't realize, actually. Donald Trump became the first sitting president ever to attend a Super Bowl.
That would be history.
I'll turn the sound off there, but I'm actually shocked to learn that that has not happened before. But there's Donald Trump shaking hands on the field before the game a few hours ago. In his pregame interview on Fox, he predicted that the Chiefs would win, so not a great prediction considering the outcome of the game, unless there's been some sort of miraculous comeback in the last few minutes. I was going to say, we should send DOGE to NFL HQ to figure out what's going on with the favorable refereeing for the Kansas City Chiefs. Apparently not. Apparently the referee preference has expired because the Chiefs got their you-know-what kicked in tonight. Anyway, also in Trump world, the deportations are continuing all across the country. And one young, apparently Mexican woman in Bakersfield, California, very mad about that. Crystal Aguilar is some sort of local immigration activist. She was arrested Thursday by Kern County Sheriff's deputies after people reported seeing her trying to, what they thought was, steal the American flag off the flagpole. This is Hart Park, northeast of the city. It actually looks like she wasn't stealing the American flag. She was taking it down to throw it in the mud, and then she raised a Mexican flag in its place. Upon confrontation, she told deputies, "This is Mexican land, actually." And she said her people, not just Mexicans in general, but like her family and her associates, they're going to kill those sheriff's deputies and their families. And she says she's already told her dad.
You're not going to tell me what to do. This is Mexican land.
Oh, okay.
Look at that flag, because that flag isn't on the floor, is it?
Hey.
Is it?
Hey.
You can't say I'm disrespecting. No, esta es mi tierra. Esta es mi tierra. Esta es mi tierra.
Come here.
Okay, my people kill you.
Turn around.
I'm going in peace and you're hurting me and you're going to regret it when you... Okay.
Hey.
Touch me, my... when your kids die. When your kids die. You're squishing my hand and they already know. You don't need to take me.
Stop her.
Take me. Take me. Take me.
Take her down.
Take me, my... She's on the ground. She's all right. We'll get her. I got her. Stick my stop. And they're gonna pay.
So she's actually doing some variation of the grade school bit there. Well, my dad can beat up your dad, or my dad can kill you on behalf of Mexico, I guess. She was charged with vandalism, resisting arrest, trespassing in a vehicle, and possession of marijuana in a park. I'm not sure we have to worry about her dad, though, because according to her own explanation, her dad was already deported and she doesn't even know her dad. She told a local Bakersfield news outlet that her parents both were deported when she was young. And, that could be true. It could be activist nonsense. That's according to her story. I've not seen verification of that. But she says, I'm a child that grew up without a mom and a dad because the government decided to deport them. No, it's because your parents decided to bring themselves and their child here without legal authorization. It's 100% their fault. But yeah, she says, I don't even know my dad. Or my brothers who were sent back to Mexico. So how her family is going to come kill these deputies, I don't know. And the deputies' families too. But I think we can all agree that a reunion with her dad and her brother on the other side of the wall is a perfectly fitting end to this story. We'll see if it goes that direction. Get Tom Homan on the case. Now, recall our historic congressman, would like to be called Congresswoman, Sarah McBride, the first transgender member of Congress representing Joe Biden and company in Delaware. Well, the historicness of the moment was somewhat robbed from poor Sarah, because in introducing him, Congresswoman Mary Miller of Illinois correctly called him a man.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Delaware, Mr. McBride, for 5 minutes.
Wow.
How dare you?
How insulting. But that, of course, was no accident. Representative Miller says she refuses to deny biological reality. She says Trump restored biological truth in the federal government, and she refuses to perpetuate the lie that gender is open to our interpretation. It is not. Now, McBride actually didn't acknowledge the man-shaming of the moment. He gave a speech. This was his first speech as a member of Congress. The speech was about Trump and DOGE, and he said he says that they're not actually looking to make government more efficient. They want to prove that government can't work by making government not work, as though it was working well, of course, during the last 4 years under the leadership of people like him who believe that government always works well to fix all that ails you. Perhaps the only delusion greater than the supposed womanhood itself in this case. But big story of the week and through the weekend, of course, is what's going on with DOGE and USAID and the other federal agencies that are being targeted by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. And as we'll get to in a moment, when Deranged joins, many in media, of course, care more or seem to care more about investigating who exactly is working for Elon Musk in DOGE and doxing them and finding out embarrassing details about them. They care more about that than they do about the massive government waste and fraud that the department is targeting and looking to eliminate. And one of those agencies, of course, is the U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID. Well, there was a great moment on Friday when workers were seen removing the signage at USAID's Washington, D.C. headquarters. The letters above the door were removed, and then what it just looks like there's plain old duct tape or maybe Gorilla Tape because it's black. But they put that over the sign out front. Now, the USAID office has been closed since Monday after Trump paused all activity at the agency. Of the agency's 14,000 employees, 97% were put on leave. As we'll get to, that move has now been blocked or modified by a judge. There's all sorts of court battles going on. But that's what's going on at USAID HQ. And all week long, we've seen these absurd examples of what USAID has been funding across the globe. Drag shows in Ecuador and Colombian transgender opera. And I guess money just for being gay in the Caribbean. Being LGBTQ in the Caribbean, $3.3 million. Most people think it's USAID. No, it's actually USAIDs. We bring AIDS to the entire world.
Many of those people probably have AIDS.
Now those people do, and it's all thanks to us. We pay money to give them the AIDS, and then we pay money to treat their AIDS, and we call that global economic development is the idea. Well, in an even more serious piece of waste and abuse under USAID, though, Catherine Herridge is reporting that that under USAID, we supported college tuition for Anwar al-Awlaki, who later became a high-level al-Qaeda terrorist. Now, this is the guy who Obama actually droned in 2011 in Yemen. He was the first U.S. citizen to be targeted and killed by a drone strike from the U.S. government. So remember, this was no trial, no conviction. It was just Obama droning him, and everyone's saying, okay, that's fine. No impeachment necessary. Anwar al-Awlaki was born in New Mexico. He went to college in Colorado before he went to Yemen, became great friends with the 9/11 hijackers, at least the U.S. government says. That's why they killed him. And he handled al-Qaeda internet publications until, Obama droned him. Well, apparently he got a full ride scholarship from USAID, according to the paperwork. And you might say, well, sure, but he was a U.S. citizen and he went to Colorado State University in the 90s. It's not like we knew he was an al-Qaeda guy back then or that he would become one in the future. In fact, it sounds like he got into this stuff as in radical Islamic stuff, al-Qaeda stuff, when he visited Afghanistan as a college student from Colorado. He was in the civil engineering program. He went to Afghanistan and looked at the aftermath of the country after Soviet occupation. But if al-Awlaki was a U.S. citizen, which he was, and he was going to a U.S. college, why does USAID even have involvement here if it's the Agency for International Development? Well, it's because al-Awlaki lied on his paperwork, on this application for aid. He said he was Yemeni, as in born in Yemen, but he wasn't. He was born in New Mexico. So, of course, we paid for the education of the guy who apparently went straight to the Middle East and would help to plot to blow up the Twin Towers. Perfectly on brand for USAID. We're about an inch away from demonstrating that we, in fact, funded 9/11 ourselves through USAID and other federal programs and federal agencies. There's probably a record of it deep in that USAID office somewhere. Big Balls will be uncovering it very soon. But, of course, this entire news cycle is just Democrats, talking heads in media, complaining on behalf of the supposed poor and the desperate foreigners in faraway lands who, of course, they're sure to die if we don't send them these bags of money. And if we look any more closely, if we scrutinize USAID any further, they're all going to die. So please don't audit USAID, otherwise you're killing the kids. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's going after the education department, you're killing the kids. If it's scrutinizing USAID, you're killing the kids. If it's standing up for integrity in the federal government on behalf of taxpayers in any way, you're killing the kids. That's the go-to Democrat line these days, as it always is in pretty much every policy dispute. But does anybody think that maybe we ought to talk to these foreign recipients of USAID benefits and programs? It's always outraged media, outraged Democrats talking on behalf of these people, except this week in the case of the president of Rwanda. And yes, you may remember Rwanda from such depictions as Hotel Rwanda. This is a country that has been torn apart by actual machetes in a genocidal civil war, at least in recent decades. I don't know if they're still doing the Hutu versus Tutsi slashing and hacking right now or not, if it's calmed down. But relatively recently, that's what's been going on in Rwanda. So if anybody needs some help and some aid and some development, it probably would be Rwanda. Well, you got Rwandan President Paul Kagame, who did an interview on CNN this week, and he says he thinks Trump is actually doing the right thing. He says it would be good if countries like his maybe learned some lessons.
President Trump's unconventional ways of doing things. I completely agree with him on many things.
Even though it will hurt you as Rwanda, which depends on some US aid to fund your healthcare and development.
I think from being hurt, we might learn some lessons to to do things we don't do that we should be doing. This is why I'm saying, this aid thing, which I've never been a friend of it, much as I've been a beneficiary of it.
Yeah, what might those lessons be? Maybe it's not good to depend on other countries for your success or your stability. Maybe independence is a good thing. Maybe self-reliance, self-sufficiency is a good thing. And maybe the benefit isn't all it's supposed to be anyway. Maybe the money doesn't actually improve, say, Rwandan quality of life overall, or for most Rwandans, or even a big number of Rwandans. Maybe it just enriches a few, a very corrupt few. And if Rwanda is smart enough to consider these possibilities, what excuse do we have not to? But I suppose our excuse is, we are a country that has due process of law, and these things are adjudicated in court. Maybe that's the obstacle for the moment. And there are all kinds of court interventions happening in this DOGE fight, several of which happened later in the week. Some happened through the weekend here. But Federal District Court Judge Carol Nichols, who is a Trump appointee, issued a temporary restraining order that prevents Trump and DOGE from putting any USAID workers on leave. Remember, Trump had put something like 97% of the USAID workforce on paid leave. Well, the judge ordered the reinstatement of 500 workers who'd already been put on leave. That, of course, is still just a small fraction of the total workforce of 14,000. I'm actually unclear on the scope of this order. Does it just cover the 500 or does it cover everybody? Should have double-checked that before live, but, the duct tape rolls on. In any case, pursuant to this judge's order, a lot of these USAID workers are going back to the office. They're not just going to be sitting around waiting to find out if their jobs are going to be deleted or not. The judge also said no employees can be evacuated from their host countries before Friday the 14th. That's this coming Friday. The lawsuit comes after 2 foreign service workers unions sued. It's pretty much what's going on with all of these developments. You got these public employee unions who represent these federal workers. They're all filing lawsuits, and the judges are intervening, at least temporarily. Trump's lawyers argued they have the executive authority to make these layoffs if they want to. They're saying Trump doesn't have to justify to the court how he exercises his foreign affairs. The workers' unions that are suing, they're saying, well, only Congress can dismantle USAID. The judge in this case has not made any kind of final determination in who holds the right to do these layoffs or these firings, whether that's Congress or whether the president has that authority. This order just keeps some of these workers or a lot of these workers on the job while that question is considered pursuant to this lawsuit. So USAID on life support, but still breathing, at least for the moment. There was another big decision yesterday. Federal District Court Judge Paul Engelmeyer, who's an Obama appointee in Manhattan, issued an order in a lawsuit coming from 19 Democrat state attorneys general, blocking DOGE from accessing sensitive Treasury records. So personal information stored with all the records of what's being, where all this money is going in the Treasury Department. And this order is in effect for at least a week while legal proceedings develop in that case. The judge reasoned that abrupt policy changes, as are happening right now, create the risk that sensitive data would be disclosed or the system could be hacked. So the judge has limited access to the Treasury data system to civil servants with a need for access who have passed all background checks and security clearances as required by law and regulation. In other words, in layman terms, political appointees like Elon Musk and the DOGE team cannot access the Treasury Department system, at least for now. The judge also ordered Treasury Department leaders to require that any newly prohibited officials who accessed information, as in Elon Musk and DOGE, they have to immediately destroy all the data they've accessed and downloaded. This Judge Engelmeyer handled this emergency order blocking the DOGE team from Treasury Department data The case will actually be handled by a different judge, Jeanette Vargas, who is a Biden appointee. But the problem with this decision, at least as I understand it, and I could be wrong, but this decision appears to block the Treasury Secretary himself, Scott Bessent. Scott Bessent is a political appointee. Unless I'm missing something, he's now on the list of people banned from data access. What this appears to mean is that Treasury Department employees, at least the ones who are cleared in the way that this judge describes, that they have more power than the secretary himself, at least for data access. And the decision was also made ex parte, as in with only the Democrat AG team and their lawyers present. Trump lawyers apparently were not informed, not allowed to argue, not a part of this decision. Again, it's temporary. It's nothing final, but a lot of oddities and a pretty broad scope going on here with this particular decision. What do you do? What do you do in response to something like that? Well, I think the precedent was set by the prior administration. You just pull a Biden. You just keep going. You say, that's a nice court order. Don't care. What is this judge going to do to stop you? And I get it. I want a rule of law country. I want court orders to have the force or the respect that they're due in our constitutional system. The difference here, though, between what's going on now with the Treasury Department and what happened with Joe Biden previously, Joe Biden had no constitutional basis for his nonsense, like student debt cancellation or the eviction moratorium during COVID that he just kept doing, even though the Supreme Court said you can't. There is no constitutional basis for what this judge is saying. It's actually the opposite. He's saying somehow that the executive branch doesn't have full access to executive agencies or executive agency data. It's total nonsense. As I mentioned, the decision is only in effect for the next week, so we'll see if something else comes out of this. But what difference does it make, especially in that context, just to ignore it? We'll see what the DOGE team and Trump decide to do. There's also news in the attempted federal worker buyout. So remember, Trump has made an offer to all federal workers, accept about 8 months' pay to resign now or risk losing your job as things are scaled back. And about 65,000 workers have already accepted the offer. So that's already something like 3% of the federal workforce. That is below what the White House had targeted, though. They wanted 5 to 10% of the workforce accepting that buyout offer. Well, on Thursday, federal district judge George O'Toole in Boston delayed the deadline for workers to accept that offer. It was Thursday night, I believe. Again, a federal worker labor union or a group of them sued to stop this one, too. The delay is now through at least tomorrow. When the hearings in this case resume, the judge could block the buyout offer in a longer term. The legal argument, again, here is that Congress has authority, that the buyout is actually a misuse of congressionally appropriated funds. The government can't promise future pay, as this would pay through September if it's not authorized authorized or appropriated by Congress. All right. Oh, I just got a message from Bering that he's about ready to go. So that's good. I got a few items before we pull him in here, and we'll get into the big balls saga. So we'll give him just a couple minutes. But a big question in all of this then, okay, congressional authority on budget matters. So a principle I generally agree with, okay? I get it. That's important, and it's a constitutionally valid claim. So where's Congress in all of this? Because none of these legal questions apply if Congress just starts slashing all of these budget issues with its own purse power. And usually we think Congress needs a supermajority to beat the filibuster in the Senate. Not on budgetary items, though. Those are not subject to the filibuster. So Republicans with simple majorities in both houses of Congress could start slashing DOGE style today. And there is some of that going on. Speaker Mike Johnson says he has a budget blueprint ready to outline this week. And Lindsey Graham says he's got something going too. Lindsey Graham chairs the Budget Committee in the Senate. But blueprints several weeks into it could have been further ahead on this. You could have been doing blueprints after the last election and before you were all sworn in. But I'm expecting blueprints of Kevin McAllister quality from Home Alone if we are to be satisfied with what Congress has been doing on this. It looks like they are behind. There's a lot that they could have been doing. In the meantime, Trump is beating them at the pace here, but we'll see what Congress cooks up this week. And maybe these legal questions could be reduced, eliminated, addressed, whatever, by congressional action if they're serious about this. But DOGE is not stopping anytime soon. In fact, they're targeting more agencies. DOGE is now targeting Elizabeth Warren's Financial Consumer Protection Bureau. The agency started in 2011 under Obama. It was proposed by Elizabeth Warren in 2007, back when she started as a law professor. Or when she started the idea as a law professor. She had been a law professor for a long time. But the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau operates under the Federal Reserve and is supposedly a watchdog on behalf of the consumer against the banks and the credit unions and other lenders and financial companies. Well, over the weekend, Russell Vogt, I can't remember how you say this guy's name. I'm going to go with Vogt. But he's the acting head of the agency. He halted new money to the agency and shut down its headquarters. He says the agency is sitting on $700 million and does not need any more money. The DOGE team also entered the agency on Friday. At least 3 DOGE workers are now senior advisors in the staff directory at the Bureau. Okay. And maybe you think, well, what's wrong with getting these greedy bankers under control? Elizabeth Warren and all her friends, they're going to get me a lower interest rate or whatever. Remember, this is just another tool to push government nonsense, in this case, into the financial sector. Among other absurdities, the Biden administration used this bureau to warn the banks that they may be violating federal law if they refuse to lend to illegal immigrants. So, no, they're not going to come and get you a lower interest rate. They're going to force the bank to fund the gay pride parade. And that's about it. And as we'll get to later, DOGE is also targeting the Department of Education, prompting deranged Democrats to make a visit to shake their fists at some random security guy. But I think Bering is ready to join, so let me see if I can go find him, and I will be right back.
Stand back and stand by.
G'day, mate.
Hello, buddy.
Oh, good. I was worried we're gonna have tech problems since we didn't. You know, sometimes I don't practice with people. We just throw them into the blender and see if it works. I'm glad.
Yeah,
it did.
I just set up Voice Meter Banana because that's got a nice live compressor on it. So I hope I'm coming through okay.
Yeah.
I don't live stream much anymore.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
well,
how are you, man?
I am well. That, of course, is the voice of my old friend down under, Bering. Bering just posted a great video about the Doge controversy, the Saga of Big Balls. You can you can find that on Bering's YouTube channel and X account linked in the description. But I want to get into all of it, this entire story with you. But I invite your thoughts up top. Do you have any Big Balls observations you'd like to offer?
Not so much. I mean, that's just funny. It's just funny stuff. I'm not a a totally serious person. I'm not going to do like political breakdowns and stuff. I just laugh at stuff. So, I mean, I just find it funny when, CNN and NBC are talking about big balls. I just think that's hilarious. And I like to point and laugh at it.
How do they do it with a straight face, I'll get to the CNN roundtable of these women in a minute, but...
Well, I think they just believe that everyone else is going to be like as offended as them. It can't possibly be funny because they've all got sticks up their asses, so they assume everyone else does.
I guess so. Well, so as I was discussing a few minutes ago, I mean, it really seems like a lot of these people care a lot more about who's doing the investigating of government abuse than the actual government abuse. So it's kind of where all of this begins. And the scrutiny on DOGE and the discovery, the unmasking of big balls enters. But there's also this second one. The Wall Street Journal uncovered one of these young men in DOGE made racist posts on Twitter recently, so some of them ought to be. Well, I don't know. Some might say all could be defended, but there are certainly some. I'm like, he's correct.
What did he say? Do we know what he said?
Oh, well, you want to jump into that one first? You want to skip big ball?
Sure.
We'll come back to big balls. Okay, so one of the revelations.
You lead me.
All right. Well, we'll go to the racist kid first. So the Wall Street Journal. This is reporter Catherine Long. She's got the scoop on Marco Elez. Marco Elez is he's 25. He's on the DOGE team. And his racist posts that she discovered, linked to a Twitter account that was his, I guess they've been deleted, but she's uncovered all these posts. So here's some of them. Just for the record, I was racist before it was cool. Okay.
Okay. Right.
You could not marry me, or you could not pay me to marry outside of my ethnicity. All right. Normalize Indian hate. Depends on how much 7-Eleven experience you have, I would say.
And which kind of Indians are we talking about?
That's true. I assumed from India, but maybe he's too much time on the reservation. You might be right.
Yeah.
Now, he also said he wanted a eugenic immigration policy. And when I said posts that could be defended, he said it's time to repeal the Civil Rights Act. And I think, without getting too deep into it, I think there are a lot of serious questions about not just whether the Civil Rights Act is constitutional, but whether it's moral, whether we can force private actors to associate with each other and do business with each other. I think you have a right to refuse business or refuse associations for whatever reasons you want to, whether we agree with those reasons or not. But
well, it's the gay wedding cake, isn't it? Or no, that was like a First Amendment issue, wasn't it?
They didn't necessarily decided on. God, yeah. Well, I guess it's similar. Yeah, but I'm trying to remember the exact legal terms that was decided on, and whether that fell under the Civil Rights Act or not. Similar themes, obviously.
I think, it's a similar theme, but I think that was a First Amendment issue. He was saying that, look, you can buy my products, but you can't force me to say stuff that I don't want to say.
They were forcing him to write messages he disagreed with, in effect.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but they're already bringing that kid back. Apparently, the racist kid. There was a bunch of pushback on the. He wasn't fired. It sounds like the White House press secretary said he resigned in response to that report, and then there was a bunch of backlash from people all over X, including JD Vance, and then Trump by extension, saying that he agrees with JD Vance, and now Elon Musk is saying he's welcome back, even if he wants to normalize Indian hate.
Yeah, so, Vance came out and defended him, didn't he?
He said, I think it's in this story. Yeah. Disagree with some of the posts, but I don't think we should, allow social media activity to ruin a kid's life. And
but this isn't Big Balls, is it? This is someone else.
No, so this is a different kid. I say kid, but he's 25. He's not really. That's a young man.
I know what you're saying to us. He's a kid.
Yeah, well, us old men, you know how it is.
Yeah.
But
how old are you?
I am 37 and a half.
Oh, geez. I've turned 40 this year.
Wow. You are you're about to go to the nursing home with Maxine Waters, I think.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Did you see, though, that the Wall Street Journal reporter who uncovered these racist posts She, people, she's digging into Doge guys, so let's go digging into her. People found out, she actually used to intern for USAID, which she's interviewed about before. Yeah, so how objective is she? She, is India?
There's a lot of that going on. I'm doing a video today about one of the things in it is a BBC article, and they come out and they rabidly defend USAID, and then buried way like scrolls and scrolls down is, by the way, USAID kind of funds our charity. We thought we'd throw that in.
Yeah, it's not only are we finding out a bunch of our money goes to foreign journalism, but this week we found out that a bunch of federal money is going to domestic journalism, not necessarily USAID, but just federal money in general. It looks like there's a lot of propping up journalistic outlets that might not otherwise stand on their own.
I was going to say, I haven't looked too much into that, but is it along the lines of smear pieces against Republicans?
Well, the general political bend of these. Specifically, it was Politico this week, but I think it came out there were more. There are a bunch more of them that are receiving federal money through one form or another. In Politico's case, it was millions of dollars related to an ambiguous subscription program.
Yeah, I did see that. What was it? It was like $500,000 for 38 subs. I can't remember what it was. It was very few subscriptions. It was $500,000 or something.
Yeah. So does India count as Central Asia? By the way, my geography is bad. That's not central, is it? Or would it count as Central Asia?
Look, Asians have got to be slanty-eyed. I'm sorry.
Well, that's a dispute with the British. They call all of their Muslim terrorists Asian. Anyway,
yeah, come on, man. I forget who I was watching. I think it was. Have you seen Leo Kearse, the comedian? He said it's not. No. It's not gangs of Taiwanese people going around doing these things to young girls in England. Come on, man. When we say Asian grooming gangs, I think we know who we're talking about. It's the Pakistanis.
Well, you haven't seen the Taiwanese ladyboys, have you? Oh wait, no, that's not Taiwan. What country has the ladyboys? What am I thinking of?
Thailand.
Yeah.
Thailand, yeah.
Sorry to the Asian countries for my ignorance. The only reason I ask though is because this woman who did the hit piece on the racist kid, she managed USAID projects in Central Asia. So I wonder if she was double mad, like I have to defend USAID and also Indian dignity, if that was the motive. I don't know, but we can't bury Big Balls anymore because Big Balls is the story of this entire expose. And that comes.
So what did Big Balls? I mean, apart from being called Big Balls, what did he do? He had a company called Tesla.sexy. I mean, did they do something shady? What's the big issue with Big Balls?
I don't think he did anything. He just. Yeah. Well, I did read. So this one, the expose on Big Balls comes courtesy of Wired. And yes, he goes by the name Big Balls, which I guess is the headline or the subheading. Right. And then he has these companies, like you said, one is Tesla.sexy LLC. And he's got a whole bunch of these other ones. Now, the only other piece of this is an implied connection to Russia, or I guess a demonstrated connection to Russia that they say or they imply is bad. He's got all these web domains, and some of them are Russian registered, or some of them have connections to Russia. But to your point, is there a criminal allegation? Did he do anything immoral even? Not that I see.
He's got Russian web domains. Wow.
Yeah. So this is the attention given to what Doge is uncovering. We found that one of them goes by the screen name Big Balls, and that is enough to bring Wired's entire global editorial director, Katie Drummond. She goes on CNN and she participates in this exchange that I'm talking about. It's all these women sitting around just repeating the Big Balls name and somehow not laughing at all.
So this is a 19-year-old high school graduate who has used the unfortunate nickname Big Balls online. So that would be one way that we could refer to him. He is now working at Musk's behest inside DOGE. And we looked into his background. And so we found several notable things, Aaron, one of which is that this individual has founded multiple companies, including one with another unfortunate name, Tesla.sexy LLC, which he established in 2021. He would have been around 16 years old. Now, this LLC controls dozens of web domains.
So, Kara, you hear this, and you have known Elon Musk for years. So now you look at these young men who are now in data and in the private information about maybe hundreds of millions of American citizens as young as 19, the big balls here that Katie's talking about. How well does even Musk know these young men, do you think?
I have no idea. I think there is no vetting whatsoever, as you can see, that's taken place. It took Katie and the really great team. Wired has done an astonishing job here. I could make a joke that's probably why he was hired for all this ridiculous nonsense and other nefarious things. But, there's an expression in technology. It's a feature, not a bug.
Other nefarious. Yeah. What's the joke? And other nefarious things. What is the first nefarious thing?
Well, I think the first nefarious thing is that he's called Big Balls, and the second nefarious thing is that he had a company with Tesla in the name, and anything to do with Elon Musk is bad.
Oh God. Bit of a side point, but one of the things I love reading, like cringy progressive comment sections just on like Facebook. Or, I don't participate. I just lurk. And have you seen?
Are you on Blue Sky? Are you on Blue Sky?
No, I'm actually not. Maybe I should go over there.
Man,
are you on Blue Sky?
Yeah. Oh, well, in a roundabout way, yes, I am.
So you're a Blue Sky lurker, like I'm a Facebook comment section lurker. Yeah. Have you seen them attempting to come up with clever nicknames for Tesla? Like it is the swastika is what they're going with that I've seen. That's the clever one. It's a swastika. What was the other one? I think they put 2 S's in Tesla, like, it's Hitler's police force.
Oh, SS.
Yeah. That sort of stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, they have the same sense of humor as Kara Swisher. Now, in defense of Kara Swisher, I do believe her that she is no friend of big balls or balls of any kind. It looks like she swings a different direction, I assume.
Yeah.
But
yeah, probably a fair point. Yeah, no, it's been really, really funny. Did you see? I sent you a video before, so you saw that. What was her name? It was. I was just talking about it.
Oh, Samantha Powers was the video that you sent.
Samantha Power. Yeah. She's talking about. Oh, but think about the USAID employees, and they've got to make rent, and bitch. So does everyone else. You know what I mean? Now, like if your government laundering operation that does, I was going to swear then, that does.
You can swear on my show.
Oh, okay.
Swear
the
away.
Government organization that does, Peruvian pottery classes is no longer viable. Then go get a job in the private market doing pottery classes in Peru. There's no market for it, and that should tell you something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't want to be so cruel, even though I probably could be, as to like personally laugh at any individual worker. I mean, I get it. You've got family, you've got whatever. But the point is, like you're saying, we all do. And the rest of us, this threat that you're worried about of termination or being held accountable at work, or maybe your job disappearing tomorrow, that's reality for everybody else.
That's
and
exactly right.
If you haven't planned ahead for the possibility that you lose your job through years of fairly cushy government employment, that's a you problem. I'm sorry. If you don't have the savings or the assets to withstand a sudden termination, that's a you problem. Sorry, you got to figure that out. Everybody else does.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I mean, there's talk of restructuring USAID effectively under the State Department. So, I mean, they do. USAID does worthwhile stuff. I mean, I don't think anyone's saying it was all shit. It was just a lot of shit.
That's actually news to me. What was the worthwhile stuff? No, I'm kidding. I don't mean to. If you can describe in detail, I'm curious though.
Well, I can't describe in detail, but I mean, if they're controlling polio outbreaks in Africa and shit like that, I mean, that's worthwhile stuff, isn't it?
That's after they gave them polio, though. That's how it works.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, what I'm saying is, if it's going to be restructured under the State Department, then surely the worthwhile people who are doing good, tangible things are going to have a shot at being rehired under this restructured USAID in quotation marks.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how. Maybe they'll even bring a sense of humor to the global community. That's the thing that gets me about Kara Swisher is like, all
Who's
this.
Kara Swisher?
She's a tech reporter. I forget what publication she's with now, but she's been a tech reporter for a long time with just these terrible takes like this. And to the point you made originally about just sticks up asses. It's like, yeah, God forbid someone have a sense of humor. Let's say Big Balls, for all we're aware, is actually very technologically talented. I mean, maybe he is. I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe he has a lot of talent, and also his name is Big Balls, which is funny. Is that a possibility? Like maybe being funny is an asset professionally, or just with. I like people who are funny. If you can do the job and you're funny, that's great. I would like to work with you. No.
Look at Elon Musk. I mean, he's the perfect example. And anything that he touches is usually hilarious. You know, if you line up all the models of like a generation of Teslas that spells sexy, I mean that's funny. I
didn't even see that. That's what he did. He lined up cars based on this bit.
It was like the Model S, the Model E, the Model X, Model Y. Yeah, I'm not a Tesla aficionado, but yeah, to my understanding, that's how he structured it, and no one knew why these letters were what they were, and yeah, that.
So it wasn't even a nod to Big Balls. This was something that happened before all that.
No, this is just something completely. So I'm just making the point that most things that Elon Musk does are funny, are just funny.
Did you see? And I know in your video you had a lot of like Office Space scenes and stuff, because this is all very Office Spacey. People remember, of course, the famous scene in Office Space where the consultants are brought in and they're asking the guy to justify the existence of his job, and of course he can't do it.
What would you say you do here?
Well, look, I already told you. I deal with the goddamn customers so the engineers don't have to. I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
But did you see they're allegedly actually doing exactly that? There was a federal employee speaking at a congressman's town hall later in the week, and he's saying, yeah, they're bringing us in to conduct 15-minute interviews to justify the existence of our jobs. Did you see this clip? No? Okay, we'll check this out.
In the last week, we had Elon Musk in our building, and after he visited the building, he called for a 50% cut of the entire agency. My colleagues are getting 15-minute one-on-one check-ins with 19, 20, and 21-year-old college graduates asking to justify their existence. Supervisors are being told not to tell their staff anything, withhold information, and today we got word that supervisors must now fill out a justification form, and that there's going to be just a 30% rank and yank of all staff of my agency. And to top it all off, one of Musk's top lieutenants and his wife and young child have shacked up on the 6th floor of our agency and are living there. The hallway's been blocked off with a special access list for people who can't get back there. Queer and trans folks of my agency are being doxxed in public. Their lives threatened.
Do you buy it, or do you think it's trolling? I can't tell.
What in relation to the 15-minute interviews?
Yeah, I can't tell if this guy's a character or if he's real, because as far as I'm aware, he's not been identified.
Well,
I've not heard anything about this other than this guy just saying that.
Well, what I would say is, I mean, you should be able to justify your existence in 15 minutes, or your job anyway. I mean, you and I have to justify our existence with every video we do. You know what I mean? Like every other employee anywhere has to justify their existence every day. Why is it different for a government agency?
Yeah, the phrasing too makes me. These days, it's like parody is so close to reality. I can't tell. Like part of me thinks this guy's faking it for just a bit. And then to your point, like there are so many people who are seriously like this that it totally could be serious. But the way it's phrased too, justify their existence, not justify your job. It kind
of reminds me when the trans people say you're trying to erase our existence. When
like you're going to be shot on the spot if
you're going to disappear into thin air. There's going to be a puff of smoke and you're going to be gone.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it is very, very hard to have sympathy, even if this is 100% serious and it's exactly what's going on. The other part that made me a little bit skeptical is the idea that Elon Musk's like top guy has moved into the 6th floor of their building and is just hanging out and living there with his child. It just seemed so over the top. But yeah, even if it is as described, it's very hard to sympathize with, because anybody with an honest job in the private sector, that's just called Monday or Tuesday or every day at work. But yeah, that was Congressman for Leesburg, Virginia, Suhas Subramaniam. I can't pronounce his name because
that town hall was organized. So that guy's speaking. Yeah, okay.
It's a Democrat congressman's town hall, and this guy who showed up to speak is, as far as I can tell, just some unidentified alleged federal worker.
So okay.
I don't know if it's legit or not. But, I wanted to ask you about an Australia-specific topic. We haven't discussed it all, but I'm curious if you know anything about this. Did you hear that the old Nazi salute is now banned in Australia?
I've sort of been wrestling with this. I will do a video about this at some point. I mean, it's we've had some ridiculous bills sort of that they've tried to pass in the last few years. We had a misinformation bill that was squashed a few months ago. But now this one's just been passed very quickly. And yeah, it seems to be in response to a bunch of what they call anti-Semitic attacks, which is basically people graffitiing, Nazi symbols on cars and brick walls and just stupid stuff like that. Now, the real meat in this story will be the definition of violence, because they talk about inciting violence a lot in this bill. I've only skimmed over it. I haven't read it in depth, but the whole thing is centered around, the incitement of violence. Now in Australia, hate and violence have very, very shaky definitions. What is violence? Does violence have to be someone physically being hurt? Does violence mean a perceived offense? What does violence? And so that's going to be my issue with this. So, as I said, I'm gonna delve a bit closer into it and maybe stick it into ChatGPT and let that sort of lure it a bit for me. Which is ChatGPT is very good for that sort of stuff.
So I've heard. I only use AI. I only use Grok to make thumbnails, but people are telling me AI for summarizing stories is great. Yeah,
I use mostly Grok. But you can put an act of parliament or Congress, a bill of Congress, you'd call it, I suppose, into ChatGPT and sort of talk to it, which is very handy. You can and it'll say, look, based on this and that, this would be my best guess, sort of thing. So it obviously, because all this stuff's up to interpretation at the end of the day by a judge, because it's a law, it's there to be interpreted. But yeah, it's pretty good at giving you, if it says A and it says B, then, it would be natural to assume that C, sort of thing.
Yeah, and if people didn't see just the specifics of this bill, it's a bunch of stuff like you're talking about. Like it's a big, wide anti-hate crime piece of legislation. But the thing that is crazy to me and to a lot of people, at least the American audience, I think, is mandatory minimum jail sentence. 12 months. Oh, no. So yeah, mandatory minimum jail sentence of 12 months for less serious hate crimes, they're calling them, but such as giving a Nazi salute in public. So the gesture is punishable by a year in prison. And I guess they're trying to do this to a guy in Melbourne. But it's, I guess, Victoria state law already criminalized this, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah, they did. They outlawed Nazi salutes quite a while ago, I think. But yeah, it looks like federally they're just catching up. But I mean, it's very shaky ground again. I mean, like we've just seen with the whole Elon Musk victory speech thing. I mean, it's and other examples, obviously. It's very, very easy to get a photo of someone with their arm outstretched and say, look, he's doing a Nazi salute. You know what I mean? Now, would I trust an Australian court to give me the benefit of the doubt that it wasn't? If you spun enough of a backstory, it could get pretty hairy, sort of thing. So on a surface level, the average Joe on the street would say, oh yeah, they've just outlawed Nazi salutes. Basically, that's what this is about. But like I said, my issue with this is going to be the definition of violence. You know what I mean? Because this whole thing is centered around the incitement of violence, which they're saying that a Nazi salute is an incitement of violence, which in itself is ridiculous.
So if I do the salute and poke your eye, or like accidentally slap you in the face while I do it, yeah. Okay. Well, look out for that video soon, I hope, then. You can get Baron's insights on that.
It's probably going to take me a week or two to digest. I mean, I'm sort of gathering different people's opinions on it. I'm sort of poking around it, but yeah, there's got to be... I mean, it's not an exciting topic. It's an exciting topic in that it's big news, but it's not a very fun thing to talk about, you know what I mean? I'd much rather be sitting here pointing and laughing at Democrats spazzing out. I mean, America is... I said this in a video a while back. America is like Australia's reality TV show. It's fucking awesome. It's just you turn on the channel and something fucking weird and crazy is happening like every day. You never fail.
Actually, I feel like the reverse is true. That it's not for sometimes it's political for Australian entertainment. Stuff like this, which to your point is maybe not, I think it's very important on principle, but is it the most entertaining thing? I don't know. But like Australian entertainment of just like the animals and the Steve Irwin vibe. Do you know the show Alone? You ever seen that show?
Alone? No, I can't say I have. What's that about?
The premise is just people have to go off into the woods and live alone for as long as they possibly can with basically no supplies. And the person who lives the longest wins. And they on Netflix.
When you say live, do you mean that like metaphorically? Like,
I mean, nobody dies because they get medically extracted, but people suffer for sure.
So you got to be like, it's got to be like, okay, if we don't send the chopper in, he's fucked.
Yes, they let people get pretty skinny before they pull them out. And the season for Australia just came out on Netflix. So I indulge in some trash TV, more than I should. But Australian Alone, where it's like, all right, it's actually in Tasmania, and they're all out in Tasmania.
That's easy mode, man.
Tasmania, is it?
It's like,
you got these Tasmanian devils howling like they're demon creatures or something. And I don't know, man. I don't want anything to do with those animals down there, but it's great viewing.
Chuck it in the middle of the Northern Territory during summer, and you've got a new viewer. That'd be
maybe.
Interesting.
What is that, like all desert and scorpions and tarantulas or something?
Yeah. Did you watch that? Me and Tits watched a movie the other week about a couple of American tourists that came to Australia, and they wanted to go to the Sydney Opera House or something like that, and they ended up just going, oh, let's just go to Uluru, let's go to Ayers Rock, just on a whim, not realising that it was 5,000 k's away. And they don't take water, they don't take any provisions, they trust their Google Maps or something. And it just takes them up this dirt road that just leads to nowhere. And they both end up... Oh, no, one of them dies. I think that the chick survives because the dude realises that what goes in must come out. So he ends up drinking the car's brake fluid, I think, and poisons himself. But yeah, he drinks the car's brake fluid, so he's got something to piss out. So he pisses that into a bottle and lets the chick drink the piss because his body's filtered the brake fluid into piss. Yeah, it's a pretty wild show.
Wait, what show is this? I gotta watch this. I shouldn't laugh at a horrible death in this way, but okay.
Yeah, it's a true story too. I think it's just called Outback, maybe. It's on Netflix. Yeah,
I got to see it.
It was a few years old. I think it was like 2017 or something, but it was pretty good. Like me and Tits are just sitting there just going, that is fucking so dumb. The amount of just shit that they do that you just go, it's obvious they've never been to Australia.
Yeah, drive across the middle of Australia at your own risk, I would assume. But But all right, that's my guest Bering. You can find his links in the description. YouTube channel, X account are linked right there for you. Bering, is there anywhere else you'd like to send people to find your material?
No, that's about it. I put out a few videos a week if I can, 3 to 4. But yeah, no, that's about all. Thanks for having me, man. It's been good to chat.
Of course. Well, thanks for stopping by, and you can see yourself out of here. Appreciate it, man.
See you, buddy. Got it.
Stand back and stand by. Knock, knock. Who's there? Knuckles.
And now it's time for Super Chats with Knuckle Hunky Buck.
I'm a knucklehead at times.
Hold on, I got to get that bearing graphic out of here. There we go. How are you, sir?
Not too bad at all. Feels good to be following my second favorite cartoon bear.
Who's the first, Yogi?
No, it's that one who's got the funny voice, who's always talking about politics on the Cartoon Network news or whatever. Brian Stelter.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that's right. I forgot he changed networks. I forgot.
Yeah.
Good for him. I'm glad he's landed with
whatever CNN stands for, Cartoon Network News or whatever.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, did you watch the Super Bowl at all?
I did. That I feel embarrassed for anyone who's from Kansas City or even wears the color red.
I'm glad to see, we build people up and then we like to watch their dynasty fall. And man, it fell hard today. That was, I've had enough of Taylor Swift. I've had enough of Patrick Mahomes and his wife. Good. I hate the Eagles. Can't stand them. I know this isn't a sports show, but I wanted everyone to lose. But I'm glad
they end up naming Patrick Mahomes MVP of the game?
I don't see who. I didn't see who won.
I'm pretty sure he threw the most touchdown passes.
Did he have another one? I know I saw one that went to Cooper DeJean. What a great experience for that young kid. Rookie season, pick 6 off of Patrick Mahomes. Good for him. But all right, you ready for some super chat, my friend?
Yes, sir. Let's jump in.
Joker's Midnight Show, when Black Anthem played, this one is very dangerous. I don't even know if I can read this. I'm just going to say he heard a bunch of snickers, like laughter. He heard a bunch of snickers. I missed the start of the game. I assume, so they must have played the Black National Anthem, huh? They did that bit.
I also did not catch the beginning.
Lift every voice and sing, I think. Anyway. Another big controversy from the game, they removed the end racism messages out of the end zone. Okay. So racism everywhere is flourishing. I guess that's why DOGE is on such an influential racism run.
I did see that the NFL is definitely still very proud to be gay. On the back of a bunch of guys' heads it said "Choose Love."
I dare you, fucking bitch!
That's a little bit too much text to fit on the back, but I hope they update for next year. Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah,
Tortuga. I'm going to say something I thought I'd never say. I like big balls.
I dare you, fucking bitch!
Yeah, I think we all do, but that's not news on this show. You know, we've all comfortably admitted that for a long time.
Yeah, I kind of wish that his name wasn't that, just on account of your audience is so sick of the sound already of big balls coming out of your mouth. Like, we do not need to hear big balls coming out of your mouth one more time.
I have tried to be appropriate and limited tonight. It's like the stream where I set the record for most mentions of butt sex on this stream. That was the one where there was that congressional aide, probably has AIDS, but he had the BS in the Senate hearing room.
Well,
yeah,
yep.
That was a rough one. Well, it was a rough one for him and for me and for listeners. But
it was pretty funny to see just a bunch of women on the news just bad mouthing big balls.
Yeah, well, I don't know. But I burned my only good Kara Swisher joke already. Moving on, Injured Guardian. I recently rewatched 1923. Alex yelling Bozeman to Spencer from the ship in the finale is always a gut punch. I'm looking forward to season 2. I did like 1923, and I'll continue to watch it. I mean, I like the entire Yellowstone universe, so I'll continue to watch it. 1923, to me, I didn't enjoy as much as 1883 and as much as the original Yellowstone. Too much Africa side quest, all that like time at sea stuff. I don't know. Give me some more Montana, but I get it. They're trying to expand their horizons a little bit.
You know, Yellowstone keeps coming up on this show. I guess I'm just going to have to cave in and check it out.
It's worth a watch. You'll know, but the thing is, you could watch like half of season 1, and you'll know if it's for you or not. And it's not necessarily for everybody.
Okay. Well, and see, I'm the type of guy who ends up like once I start something, I tend to stick it out unless it's like just absolute garbage.
I think Yellowstone followed a trajectory that a lot of shows follow, which is early seasons are like A+. Later on, because they have to manage X, Y, and Z, there are some writing decisions that are maybe kind of questionable. I don't think Yellowstone fell as hard as, say, like Game of Thrones did, in my opinion. But I think it's fair to say that the conclusion was not as good as the beginning.
And I was actually waiting for Game of Thrones to wrap up before I even started it, because I just wanted to sit down and binge watch it. So after that last season, and everybody's like, "Oh, come on," I just haven't even bothered.
I remember watching that because I had my wife watch through all of. She had never seen Game of Thrones until the finale season, so she watched through all of it. And then the finale season happened, and the first episode sucked, and it's like, oh, next week is going to be great, though. They're just setting up. Second episode sucked. Oh, no, we've just got to sit. We're doing exactly what you're talking about. Like, patiently waiting for all of the buildup to be realized, and it just never really was, at least in my opinion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and like I've been told to check it out despite the last season because it's worth it up until then, but I'll maybe get around to it eventually. Anyways, Brandon Wilkes. That game was atrocious. Halfway through, I was hoping my wife would go into labor, so I had an excuse to skip the rest. Oh well, at least we have female flag football to look forward to.
I love you.
I am going to acknowledge the joke, and I just congratulations to your. I think you're serious about having a baby, right? Or is that just set up in the joke? Either way, you get an entry into the. It's
strongly implied that his wife is really pregnant.
Good for you, man. And all the best to your family. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Thanks, Brandon. Ooga Booga Lou. Matt and I once made love, and it was only slightly less gay than the Kansas City Chiefs. His big balls crossed my goal line, and then after the blowout, he covered me with his confetti.
You are gay.
I guess for old time's sake, I have to.
I love you.
Acknowledge that one, too.
All right. And we've got Long Dong John. Matt and I once made love. I didn't do it because I was gay. I did it to secure that sweet USAID cash.
Thank you, Long Dong John. Appreciate that. Lord Stockingham Puppeton III. All right, what do we got here? Is one of your state's parliaments really considering making it illegal to have a wank? I do say. What? I'm asking you as though you know, but I know you're good at translating the observations of Lord Stockingham Puppeton III.
It's funny. Your friend Bering, who was just on, he actually put out a video about this. So I actually do happen to know exactly what Lord Stockingham Puppeton III is talking about.
Okay.
It's a Mississippi legislator who tried to put out a bill about trying to make it illegal to masturbate. As like some sort of statement about abortion rights or something like that.
Oh, I've heard of this. Yeah, it's not like some right-wing thing. It's a response from progressives.
He's basically just he's just jerking everybody around to beta reaction. But you have to hand it to him. He's doing a masterful job.
Shut up, faggot.
All right. You're really trying to earn your own entry into the giveaway, aren't you? Joker's Midnight Show. Tape is black, so you call it Gorilla? That's racist. No. I guess. But if you go and buy Gorilla tape, like the Gorilla duct tape, which is my preferred duct tape or duct style tape for fixing things, it's black. You ever buy Gorilla duct tape?
I just buy whatever is at Home Depot.
They sell it there. That's where I buy mine.
I don't necessarily shop around for brands.
A wide array of Gorilla products. And Gorilla has not been bullied into changing its name or its logo just yet.
Well, and if I'm going to trust anybody's opinion on duct tape, it's going to be this guy right here.
I've got a lot of experience, although maybe your local HVAC guy would know a little bit more, I would think.
All right. Steamroller 1323. Work for the VA. People are losing it. Fear mongering abounds. Doctor actually said little flag on all government websites is the original Confederate flag. Lunatic.
Is it so you're talking about Virginia state government websites? What does the Virginia state flag look like? Are they mistaking it for that?
Is that one of the
it doesn't yeah, I forgot. It's the Virginia state flag. It doesn't look like the Confederate flag. I remember it's controversial because it's got that Latin saying on it though. Sic semper tyrannis, or however you pronounce it.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. Let me get bearing out of here again. Yeah, that's the Virginia state flag. I wonder what they're confusing for the Confederate flag though. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, thank you, Steamroller. Jamie Clay, I've been meaning to ask, what is the origin story for the moniker Uncle Hunky Buck or Knuckle Hunky Buck? Does it have anything to do with garbanzo beans?
It has nothing to do with garbanzo beans. Hunky Buck is shit. I suppose I've been using that nickname for like 20 years now. That one's just been kind of like my all-purpose like screen name for like Xbox Live. Just Hunky Buck was always the thing, and so I had the Gmail and I had the YouTube account. And when Google bought YouTube, they like folded them together so you could sign in with your Google account or your YouTube account. And so basically I lost my original YouTube account because I was signing in with the same username on both. And all of a sudden, oh, okay. So now like I can't possibly access the old one because it's the same damn name. So it was, in order to start a new channel or whatever, I had to add something or change it entirely. And so I just decided to use Hunky Buck as a last name and use a nickname that friends in real life actually call me, which is Knuckle. And so it just became Knuckle Hunky Buck. And people seem fond enough of the name that at this point I can't get rid of the Knuckle. Like it's just,
great story, compelling and rich.
I knew that one was coming.
What is your preferred Knuckle? You like moose? You like are you more of a does camel count? I don't know.
No, that's well, I suppose toes have knuckles too.
Yeah. I know you are the expert. I just figured I'd ask. All right, I'm gonna move over to Odyssey and Rumble. Is Rumble working for you?
I do have Rumble, but I do not have LBOT PN. Do you?
That's okay. Thank you. It's like you know to check on his behalf. He is in there.
I am not going to be niggardly.
Thank you, LBOT.
All right, I was about to say if he wasn't in there, I'll meet you at the flagpole. You better bring your lunch money. Actually, I would like to ask LBOT PN to clarify for us. I know that it's if he doesn't mind breaking silence, he very rarely does. I'm curious as hell. Is LBOT PN, is that supposed to stand for anything? Is that like pound bot pence or something? Is that
I don't know that we've ever gotten clarification. Yeah, you're welcome to email me, though we of course respect your right to privacy, Mr. LBOT. I assume Mr. I don't know.
Okay.
Let me grab a couple on Odyssey, and then we'll get a couple on Rumble, and I'll get back into the news. But on Odyssey, Blanket says, Matt, do you have a favorite and least favorite sport? I assume you're talking like major team sports, like the major pro sports type stuff. If I'm a viewer, football for sure. Although in-person baseball is pretty great too. But it's like at the ballpark baseball, okay? Not like sitting around watching it on TV attentively. At the ballpark baseball. I think baseball is the best sport to attend in person. I love football, but it's actually kind of hard to view in person because when the play is on the opposite end of the field or far away from you, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on. People are like a lot rowdier at football games, which gets more annoying. And the TV experience for football is so good too. But least favorite, I don't really give a crap about hockey or basketball. And I know people say you got to give hockey a chance. You have to. I've tried giving hockey a chance. I'm not hating on it. It's just not for me. I just don't really get it. Hockey's not my thing, and basketball's not my thing either.
baseball is intensely boring to watch on TV, but I agree the experience of going to a baseball game is kind of fun. But have you ever attended a hockey game?
Yes, I went to a Columbus Blue Jackets game circa 2012, 13, somewhere in there.
Okay. I've had some fun at hockey games before when I was a kid.
It was okay.
That can get a little wild.
I wasn't like angry. It's not I've tried to understand the game and I just don't. It's not for me. Also says, Matt, do you prefer pancakes or waffles? I'm not strongly opinionated either way. I would say we don't have a proper waffle iron at my home. So if we're making those, it's going to be pancakes. But the only thing I would say is my problem with waffles, relatively speaking, is sometimes they get too thick and bready. A good pancake is kind of nice and thin, in my opinion. You don't want super, super thick. Your thoughts?
If I get to choose where the pancakes come from, Granny Hunky Buck, my mom makes the best pancakes. Any restaurant you ever go to, they never taste like her. Like she makes the absolute best pancakes and makes the syrup and everything, and those are fantastic.
Well, thank you for properly honoring your grandmother or your mom or both.
It's my mom, but she's known as Granny.
Oh, okay.
My parents are Granny and Poppy these days. So
see, I don't know as much about your mom as you said I do.
As you said you do.
All right. Yakko over on Rumble. DOGE has swept into 14 federal agencies looking at how to gut them. We've heard of too big to fail, but the government is too big to function efficiently. It should never have gotten this big anyway. I mean, it's too big for one person to comprehend. It's so large that one person could devote his life to studying its depths and still not understand all of it. That's how gigantic the beast has grown.
Not even the whole government, just even tax code is too big for one person to comprehend.
Yeah.
Like by design.
Seems so. Yeah. They create a whole industry on it. How do you think H&R Block and Company are in business?
Yeah. All right. I'll take Bulldozer 74. Fuck yo pennies. Nick A.
He said the N-word.
Nick Anderson, I'm guessing.
Oh, yes. Nick Anderson.
He missed the space bar. He was in a hurry to type that one.
Yeah. Thank you, Bill. Canadian Egg, win or lose, we know there will be an Eagles fan eating horse shit. I'm going to acknowledge that one.
I love you.
Just because I want to remind everyone that that's not just like a bit. An Eagles fan, after their last Super Bowl win, actually ate horse shit on the streets of Philadelphia, and you can go watch it, and you should, so you can understand that piece of American history.
And a lot of people watched the Kansas City Chiefs eat horse shit on national television.
So everyone
right
all
out
around.
On the field.
All right, do you have Eric here? I'm going to do last one to Eric right now, and I'll cut it there.
Eric the half. Eric, I'm going to go ahead and grab.
Yeah. Let's do Eric.
All right, Eric the half gingy. I always listen to your shows on Monday and Thursday mornings at work, so I don't get to support you. I had to change that.
Well, I appreciate that as well.
I love you.
Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party, Eric.
So thank you, Eric. Very much appreciated. And I'm going to jot that down. And let's see. Before we get out of here, I will invite your customary crappy joke. What do you got for us?
Well, actually, I just wanted to apologize. Last week, I made a little crack about the helicopter pilot. I said that she crashed an Apache. It wasn't actually an Apache. It was a Black Hawk. So I wanted to apologize for getting it wrong there. Based on pictures I saw of her with her partner, it seems that the actual reason that she crashed was because she didn't have very much experience with Black Hawk.
Get the hell out of here.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right, there he goes, Knuckle Hunky Buck. As far as the rest of the Super Chats, I will be back with you at the end of the show. Very much appreciated. Thank you for those.
I'll have to just circle back with you.
And we'll get back into the news. Where did we leave off? Let's see. Let me pull up the right story here. We did the Australian Nazi stuff. Oh, yeah, the Department of Education stuff. That's what we got to talk about next. Early in the week, deranged Democrats were yelling about fire and war outside the Treasury Department because they're so defeated that protesting on behalf of taxing and spending is really all they have at this point. Well, on Friday, they went down to the Education Department because Trump is reported to be working on an executive order to diminish or possibly eventually eliminate the Department of Education outright, though, of course, that would ultimately require an act of Congress. But he's working to make moves ahead of that. The Department of Education is also another DOGE target. Trump said this week that the Department of Education and the Pentagon should be targeted for review as well. So a bunch of congressional Democrats, led by Maxine Waters, to the extent she can competently lead anything, not just these days, but ever in her life, they all showed up at the Department of Education building in D.C. and just demanded to be let in. We're here to see so-and-so, the acting secretary of this or the undersecretary of that, or we just want to come in and shake our fists at what's going on here. But they were stopped by some security guard guy who just stood there, not caring at all, and eager and ready to become a meme.
Right now, you're looking live at the Department of Education. Members of Congress, they're being denied entry into the building. The doors are locked. There's a security guard there.
Do you understand who members of Congress are? Well, and you don't care. Who are we then? You don't care. We have a job to do.
We're not dangerous people. We're not, I don't know, security. There are no thieves and thugs out here. We're members of Congress.
The kids deserve to have us go in and fight for them.
The kids. Please think of the kids.
Deserve that battle.
This is a public institution. This is not Russia.
Let the camera see him. Let the camera see him.
Who is he? Well, and I think it should be clear to parents in the United States, if you want to advocate on behalf of your children, you are not allowed to come into this building where you pay taxes.
They're calling all of these gun-loading people out on us. Are they prepared to shoot us?
If only, Maxine. If only they were. Where's Derek Chauvin? They're not going to shoot you. That's just a neck that needs some kneeling. That's all. It's going to be tough because of those jowls, though. But Derek Chauvin could bring justice to this scenario. No, we're not dangerous people. We're not thieves. We're not crooks.
I doubt it.
That's their entire career in Congress. They take from the American people at gunpoint and then claim to be the victims of gunpoint. Classic. But what do these people do? Oh, we're not criminals. We're not thugs. They stir up mobs to commit thuggish criminality. They do it all the time. And then they're going to sit outside here and rant that parents out there, you should be aware that the Department of Education is not working for you. Yeah, agreed. That's why they're trying to diminish or shut down the Department of Education, is because they remove authority from parents and from states and from localities to handle education for themselves. So if we all agree that the Department of Education is not the primary authority here, and that parents and parents' political authority extended to the states, that ought to have jurisdiction over education, then what are we protesting? You should be joining Donald Trump and Republicans in Congress to take power away from the Department of Education, to diminish or even end the Department of Education. But of course, it's never about coherent principle. It's just about what serves Democrat power, even if that power, as we can see in this display here, is running on just fumes. But parents need to realize the Department of Education is not serving them. Your party was sending the FBI to monitor parents at school board meetings because parents were mad at some of the things that were being taught in their schools locally. That was an FBI matter. Now you're going to sit here and tell us that somehow Donald Trump, by reducing the scope and power of the Department of Education, is not serving parents? It's returning power to parents and the states. That's the idea. But this man's patience here, deserving of some recognition. Of course, he was doing his best impression of the famous Ben Affleck meme. And when you watch, they were all very annoying, but few were as annoying as Maxine Waters, who is so old in her harassment of him, she can't even tell what he's saying half the time.
Look them in the eye. Come on, hold your face up. Look at
This is him. Look at it. What's your name? Tell us your name. Give me that ID again.
Giving you the ID. I showed it to you.
So what?
I showed you the ID.
You do what?
I showed you the ID.
Could you let me see the ID again? Huh?
No.
No? Will someone else ask him for the ID? Will you ask him for it? He won't let me see it again. You didn't see it. You didn't see it. They didn't see it.
Oh, listen, Sonny, go get me my reading glasses and a nice glass of prune juice. This guy is running bingo enforcement at the nursing home right now. But Maxine Waters, she actually identified the guy. I don't think it's fair to say it was doxing because his identity was publicly available online in his role as an employee here. But still, why is she doing this? What does Maxine Waters do? She's going out and posting this guy's identity after this event. And it turns out he's the assistant secretary or the deputy assistant secretary of the Office of Security Facilities and Logistics Services down at the Department of Education. Trump needs to get this man a Medal of Freedom immediately. I don't know what his politics are. For all I know, he was appointed by Obama or Biden, and he loves this federal power grab. So I don't know. Maybe you look into it a little bit. But my point is not necessarily that he deserves an award based on his politics or not. He deserves an award based on what he just did with this mob because it was hilarious. He stood up to the... Goes to show, you want to stop the Democrat agenda? Just say no insistently and see what happens. Fold your arms, stand there and say no. If we all had this man's courage, we could dismantle their agenda just as easily as he did. So he has my appreciation, regardless of what his politics may or may not be. But moving on, a week and a half ago, Wednesday stream before last, I talked about this trans cult that has been linked to the murder of the U.S. Border Patrol agent a U.S. Border Patrol agent in Vermont. And they're actually connected, this trans cult, which sounds like an exaggeration, but it's not. This trans cult is connected to at least 6 other killings in recent years. And the members of this cult, they're followers of this tranny leader called Ziz. His real name is Jack Lasota. But his nickname, his trans name, whatever, Ziz. And the followers of him, they're pursuing a philosophy that is often referred to as Zizism, or they are Zizist, or Zizians, or something like that. So, and this Ziz character, this Ziz guy is currently on the run from the law related to all of the killings that have been happening by members of this trans cult. Now, not all of them are trans. Many of them are, but not all of them are, as far as I understand. But this Ziz character was living with one of the trannies who murdered the Border Patrol agent 2 weeks back or whenever that was, end of January. The other tranny involved in that incident was supposed to marry Maximilian Snyder. And I don't know if Maximilian is trans or not. There's a photo of him in court down in this story here. Let me find it. That's the great thing about the Zizist cult. You don't know who's trans and who's not. This is Maximilian. And so one of the people who ended up killing that Border Patrol agent in Vermont, she was supposed to be married to this Maximilian guy. They applied for a marriage license in Washington. They're from Seattle. That was in November, but the marriage, I guess, never happened. Now this guy is, he's charged in the killing of a guy in Vallejo, California, connected to this trans murder cult. So let's back up a bit. That's the point of this story, this big profile in the San Francisco Chronicle, all these details. How did this Zizist tranny cult, how did they come to be, and why are they murdering so many people? Well, it turns out, as the headline describes, Ziz is just a hardy tugboat captain, okay? The headline of the profile in the San Francisco Chronicle is Rationalist Fleet. Before killings linked to group, Ziz led fateful tugboat voyage to California. Now, what kind of tugs on this tranny boat are we talking about? Well, we'll have to read on. The tugboat is called Caleb, or the Caleb. It's a World War II era vessel. Now, in the summer of 2017, Ziz and his friends bought it from somebody up in Ketchikan, Alaska, and they tugged it all the way down to the San Francisco Bay. And the plan for this tugboat was they were going to have this offshore residence this offshore home for this tranny club where they could live less expensively and escape the burdens of society. Now, the cult has its philosophical origins in rationalism, according to this profile, at least as they describe it, and as rational as a World War II tranny tugboat cult can be. But the ultimate plan, they were going to have a fleet of these boats, and it was going to be called the Rationalist Fleet or the Rat Fleet. And you'll be shocked to learn that the tranny tugboat soon ran out of money. The operation was not financially viable. So they were actually anchored out of harbor. They were anchored offshore. They weren't paying fees where they were coming into harbor, despite using that marina to refuel and avoid hazardous weather and using it for other reasons. So they had to come ashore from time to time. They had to get supplies. There were fees associated with it. They weren't doing that. They were running this decades old, almost a century old tugboat that clearly is in rough shape. And they ended up abandoning the boat in 2022. And then San Mateo County, so this is where they landed is just south of San Francisco, a place called Pillar Point Harbor. It's kind of by Half Moon Bay in that part of California. San Mateo County ended up suing them for the costs of cleaning up this tugboat and towing it out of the water. It was a massive mess that they left behind. Okay, so how did the murders happen, though? How does this connect to killing? Well, they brought the boat from Alaska. Again, they pulled it into this Pillar Point Harbor. And in the harbor, they had a neighbor. This neighbor man was named Curtis Lind. Curtis Lind had another big boat in the harbor. And so they became friends over time. And then eventually, around 2020, Lind retired. He moved to Vallejo, which is inland in the East Bay. He's not doing the boat life anymore. And many members of this tranny boat, this tugboat, they were tired of the boat life too. And they also had financial problems and the county was coming after them. So this Lind guy, he offered to let them live in his yard in moving vans. And they had an informal agreement. They didn't have like a rental contract, but he said, you can have your RVs or your vehicles on my property in Vallejo for $2,000 a month. And so they were living under that arrangement for a little while, but then COVID hit and the tranny tugboat club stopped paying their rent. And they stopped paying their rent, citing the COVID regulations that banned evictions. So, once again, thanks, Joe Biden.
That was 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
Though I guess in fairness, that started under Trump, but Joe Biden perpetuated it. Meanwhile, Ziz actually faked his own death. I assume to get out of some of the regulatory or law enforcement problems he was encountering. His friends all said they saw him fall into the San Francisco Bay, which prompted a Coast Guard search. And there was an obituary. There was a probate case. I don't know what property he even had. It doesn't sound like he was a man of wealth. But they got to figure out, where does the tugboat go, I guess. Then another one of his fellow trannies also faked his death simultaneously. Okay, that brings us to November 2022. This Curtis Lind guy starts the eviction process to get the tranny cult off of his property. And they respond by attacking him with knives and a samurai sword. And Lind actually survived. He shot two of the trannies, killed one of them. And so two in the tranny club, and again, to be clear, not all are trannies. I just call them the tranny club because it was philosophically organized around how special trans women are. Key tenet of Zizism, apparently. So two in the tranny club, they were charged with murder, as in they are responsible for the death, the person that Lind actually killed in self-defense, but because they initiated this encounter, they were prosecuted for that death because of their activity, their aggression. That's how bad it was. That's how bad their attack was. It was a self-defense case in California, in the San Francisco Bay Area. Such a thing is still possible. So these two guys are going to go on trial for murder, and Lind is going to testify against them. But then members of the tranny club, the Zizist cult, they show up and they stab him to death at his Vallejo house because they don't want him to testify against fellow Zizist cult members. And that's where this Maximilian guy is charged, because he apparently was the guy who stabbed and killed Lind. But then about the same time, 2 parents of one of the cult members were also murdered in Pennsylvania. And Ziz was there when police raided a property related to that killing. And they actually found him. They arrested him. He was released on bail. Surprise, surprise. He never showed up to court. He's been on the run since. So it really is incredible. This story of this Border Patrol agent murdered in Vermont, basically silent. Nobody's talking about it anymore. Why not? It's because there's this insane, murderous tugboat tranny club behind it that has been killing people all across the country. And it's one of those stories that just sounds so insane and tinfoily on its surface, on its face, that you have a hard time believing that it's real. But this is the most detailed account of what happened I've seen by a reporter in the San Francisco Chronicle who would have I assume, every ideological inclination to minimize some of the details here. This is, in a crazy year, this tranny tugboat murder club story is maybe the craziest out there. And it's shocking that a tranny commune on a tugboat at sea turned out so poorly. But, if only people would just leave them alone. That's really the problem here. Just leave them alone. Let them live the life they wanted. They were out at sea on a tugboat being left alone. And look what happened. They've committed interstate killings. And some of them are still on the run. Anyway, that brings us to tonight's case of hoax hate. Or cases, I have 2.
And now, the nobody saw it happen, but it's totally a product of Trump's America hoax hate crime of the week.
Ah, shit, it's backwards. You think they'll notice?
A Tampa man was acquitted in a murder trial this week. Prosecutors said Gerald Radford killed John Lay in an encounter at the dog park last year because Lay was gay. But the jury disagreed and cleared Radford on all counts, largely on a self-defense claim.
Radford charged with second-degree murder for shooting and killing John Lay at a Tampa dog park last February. Lay's friends accuse Radford of targeting him because of Lay's sexual orientation. The prosecutor and defense making their final cases to the jury just hours ago with final points.
Just use your common sense. Gerald Radford said a hateful homophobic slur over and over.
Because he's on top of him. Wailing, knees grinding into the ground. Again, 2 sides to every story. I submit, again, that this was self-defense.
Okay, so what happened? Well, that day, this is February 2nd, 2024, Radford is the guy with the awesome Santa Claus beard here, and then on the left is Lay, who's the gay guy that ended up dead. Radford calls 911 on February 2nd, 2024 to report that he had shot Lay. The shooting happened after some sort of physical fight between the two. And again, this happened at a dog park. As far as I'm aware, as I've seen in the reporting, nobody actually witnessed the fight or the shooting. So it's really a question of who started the encounter. Now, prosecutors called Lay's friends to testify that Radford, the beard man who pulled the trigger, Radford had often called Lay anti-gay slurs prior. You heard the prosecutor mention that there in the video clip. But the two had this ongoing conflict. Radford says that Lay came for him and referenced a text message that Lay had sent to his friends. You can see. So back up a little bit. Prosecutors brought friends of Lay who said, oh yeah, Radford used to call him an effing F slur and say, I want to kill him in general, not necessarily on that day, but he would call him homophobic names, generally speaking. That was the prosecution's case. The defense case says, well, we had this ongoing conflict, and here's a text message from Lay, the guy who was killed, to his friends, or his friend the day before the incident, saying, basically, I intend to provoke him. The text message reads, he doesn't really intimidate me, Radford, the Santa Claus beard man. He doesn't really intimidate me. I thought if he blocks my path again, I'll try to tackle him. He's really older than he looks. He's weak and feeble. I'll keep you informed. This weekend should be drama. And it turns out the drama was him dying from what sounds like his aggression. Now, according to Radford's account, Lay hit him on the head with something. Then Lay got on top of him, pinned one of his legs, and started hammer fisting him.
That's a big game, man.
Unfortunate term in this context. I was hammer fisted by this gay man. But what he actually means, it's not the sex act. If that is a sex act, it just sounds like one. He means like the Waffle House combat technique, you know, where you grab someone's weave and hammer fist like this. Or that's probably an unfortunate gesture for me to do on camera myself, but that's hammer fisting. Like you're beating someone with the bottom of your fist in that kind of hammer motion. So Radford says that's when he pulled his gun. When he got hammer fisted, he pulled his gun. And there was some sort of fight over the gun. Lay tried to grab the gun from him. Radford fired. Lay died. And as seen on body cam footage from a responding officer, Radford was scratched, he was scraped, he was bruised, he was bleeding from the fight. Also considerations for the jury, though. Lay was 50 pounds heavier and 13 years younger than Radford. And you heard Lay make commentary to that effect in his text message. Oh, he's just an old, feeble man, and I'm much younger and much stronger. Although, unfortunately for Lay, if you ask me to identify which man is obviously older, I'm not sure I would guess easily based on these two photos. But if that's true, that Lay was the aggressor per the text message and his younger age and larger physical size, that's a threat for consideration in Radford's self-defense claim. Police also made mistakes in the investigation, according to the defense team. Police quickly bought into the media narrative that this is obviously a hate crime. And they say police failed to secure relevant surveillance footage before it was deleted. Now, I don't know if there was surveillance footage of the fight itself or the shooting. Again, nobody witnessed it. There's not video of it. I don't know what the video they wanted to recover was. Maybe it was just he walked by at this time and he walked by at that time, and you can piece together the scene that way. Or maybe it was video of the fight itself, but when they say it was deleted, I imagine that's kind of homeowner doorbell cam stuff that is auto-deleted every 30 days or something like that. That's probably what happened there. Police just probably weren't quick enough to identify that video that existed. And if the defense team is to be believed, that maybe that's because there was a conclusion drawn early. Oh, this just it was an anti-gay hate crime. Case closed. Except it wasn't, and this guy's acquitted, and the other guy's dead because apparently he effed around and found out, at least in the judgment of the jury. Similarly, over in Palm Springs, California, a gay organization claims to have been targeted with vandalism. 7 pride flags were discovered torn down and discarded in a dumpster at the Hunter Biden gun style, just thrown into a dumpster, these pride flags. This at the Palm Springs Cultural Center. Police are investigating the incident as a hate crime. Now, was there any serious property damage? No. Was anyone harmed? No. But conveniently, you should now donate to the Palm Springs Cultural Center because of this atrocity, because of this crime against humanity. After all, they need to install new security cameras, new security measures. Guess what? Your donation is even tax deductible. Now, supposedly this happened Monday. Still no suspects, as far as I've seen. And local media already running with the intended narrative. This headline from NBC. What is this local NBC? NBC Coachella Valley or NBC Palm Springs, something like that. Headline, LGBTQ acceptance declines nationally as concerns grow in Coachella Valley. Palm Springs is a gay mecca, but everyone hates the gays here, as evidenced by this recent pride flag attack. As always, not gay enough. It needs to get gayer. If anyone can find a way to make it gayer, California surely will find a way. But that's all I got for the stream tonight. Let me catch up with our chatters. I know I've let Rumble sit for a little while, so let me circle back with Rumble, and then we'll call it an evening. Ninja Kitty Bonks over on Rumble. Though Mr. Gay, that's me, appreciates any support, the kitty asks you to consider the Rumbles to do so. 100% go to Mr. Gay Always 200 characters available and supports free speech. If not, litterbox duty for you. Well, thank you, Ninja Kitty. Appreciate your reminder. That is true. Rumble, I think they're still doing the 100%. They were for a long time. In any case, whatever fees Rumble may take, if any, they are minuscule compared to what Raja Mohan and company collect over at YouTube. So Rumble is a great way to support the show and not fork over a bunch of money to the powers that be. Thank you, Ninja, and I appreciate your help with the chat, as always, too. Dangerous Spaces, our fellow friendly show producer, Dems told us that Greta Thunberg was an expert of climate change at 15. They claim that kids are experts in their own transness. They can fuck right off with the Elon hired a 19-year-old hysteria. Well, as always, are there principles? Is there coherence? No, it's whatever point is needed to serve Democrat political power. So when having 16-year-olds vote potentially serves Democrat political power, absolutely, bring them in. If Elon Musk hires someone of similar age to look at abuse and waste in federal government agencies, no, that's nonsense. He's way too young. He has no experience. I guess the reasoning is, to your point, like if Big Balls was just a kid voting for the infinite expansion of the federal bureaucracy, then he is totally qualified to do that. If, however, he's hired, presumably based on his ability or talents, he's hired to use his technical skills to look at some of the fraud and abuse, no, then he's not qualified anymore. What's the variable that matters? The extent to which it serves Democrat political power. Your friendly neighborhood Fed, Matt and I once made love. I showed him my big balls. He dodged my shot, but after I was done, he was limping like the federal bureaucracy. Still less gay than watching the Super Bowl.
I love you.
It's been a while since we've had, even though honestly, I was, the Matt and I once made love meme. I've always been quite all right if that, expires, if that goes, if that dies a natural death. I've never intervened, but, that one, sometimes it's hard to make my parents listen to those or other people who may listen to the show. But now that there's a resurgence, it's like, well, how can I not, for throwback's sake? Appreciate your support for the show. Howdy Twerkman, Bell Canada is buying Ziply Fiber for $3.6 billion. To fill those Northwest fiber optic lines, the company that supports a national day for mental health found some change for Elliot Page to make a TV series. I haven't heard anything about this. So you're saying Ziply Fiber is involved with an Elliot Page TV series, if I'm understanding this correctly? I don't know what's going on up north, man. I hardly understand your political system, let alone internet companies pushing Elliot Page as some kind of entertainment event. But Godspeed, man. Thank you for the update on that. Symes82, if I'm saying that correctly. Hey, Matt, have you ever considered multi-streaming on Twitch? They have a politics category now. Got to offer some pushback to people like Hamas Piker. I haven't considered it. Back when I was a video game streamer, I did stream on Twitch just a little bit. I didn't stay on Twitch very long. And I think, I'm trying to remember if we ever streamed the former iteration of this stream, like the Matt and Blonde show, Beauty and the Beta. Was that ever streamed on Twitch? I want to say I tried, and I thought there was an account that was banned, but I can't even remember now. I can't remember if I tried and it got banned, or I was so discouraged by anybody saying anything interesting over on Twitch who was getting banned. One of the two. It's been so long, I don't remember. But because you couldn't really say anything that mattered over on Twitch, I just never really got started on that. If it's gotten better, I don't know. I don't pay attention to Twitch because I just figured it's not really a platform for what I like to make. It seems more like a video game place. It just seems like not, a politics podcast or stream that's not really where people go for that sort of thing. But if people want to watch it there and they're not going to ban me, I'm not going to waste my time setting up an account. I guess I'm open to it. But Simon, if you want to send me your thoughts about that, and my goal is I'm trying to bring the show wherever you want to watch the show. If there's demand to see it on Twitch, I'm open to it. I just I don't want to reward people who are shutting down interesting discussion if they're still doing that. But maybe they've seen the error in their ways. Who knows? Things can change. Thank you. Appreciate that. Over on Rumble, we're good. Just a bunch of great memes from Blankets. Also says, Matt, what is your favorite flavor of cake? Funfetti, and it's not close. Absolutely funfetti. And anybody who disagrees, you're wrong. The other forms of cake are okay. Cake is kind of like pizza. Bad cake is pretty rare, but funfetti is elite. And that should always, a birthday cake. We even had a funfetti wedding cake. Although I was enraged because I don't want to call this woman was very nice and she did a great job. But you can't put chocolate frosting on a funfetti cake. And we had funfetti. And we did not order chocolate frosting on a funfetti cake because who the hell does that? And there it was. The cake showed up for the event with funfetti frosting on it, or with a funfetti cake with chocolate frosting on it.
Oh my God, bro!
And it was an abomination. It ruined the whole event. No, I don't know. It's just, you have to have a white frosting, a vanilla frosting, something like that on a funfetti cake. It cannot be chocolate. You don't mix those things. So I don't know. I don't know that I've ever gotten over that. But thank you over on Odyssey to Blankets. Let's see. I left off on YouTube and YouTube and Tippy with Jamie Clay. Thank you, Jamie. Laverick says, if we've been funding all the queer liberal nonsense, I really hope you get your slice of the pie by being gay propaganda for USAID. Matt, hey, this is an interesting way to handle it. Thank you for first, well, since you were so presumptuous to think that you get an entry.
I love you.
I guess I'm going to reward your aggression because you included your email address, Laverick. I know that's intentional. I just think it's funny. Like, okay, you want my email address for entry into the contest? Here it is right there. That's one way to do it. I just don't want to I don't want to put everybody on the spot to enter their email address in the super chat, but it is one way to do it. And I appreciate your effort, Laverick, or Laverick, if I'm mispronouncing it. Thank you for supporting the show. Griff Nizzle, bearing as your guest and not a single CUNT uttered. Somebody check his passport. Fake Aussie suspected. I thought that was great that he asked or implied that it would not be okay to swear on my show. It's been a long time since Bearing has been on my stream, so maybe he just forgot or something. Not that I'm like the most potty-mouthed guy, but I've never had a stream that was expected to be suitable for kids listening or something like that. And of course, I understand how the Aussies work in that regard. I understand how Bearing works in that regard. The last thing I would want is for him to feel like he has to come onto this stream and be much more polite with his language than he otherwise would be. But that was funny. No, it was not a Bearing imposter. That was the real guy. And he just did not drop any C words in that way. So we appreciate that, I guess. I don't know. I want him to be not that he wasn't. If he wants to drop C words, that's fine with me. Take it up with Raju Muhan, I guess. Esoterica Unbound. The show comes through for another viewer's love life. Battling a cold and couldn't stay awake for the late start, so I passed out on the couch. At some point, saw highlights through the window and heard the van pulling into the drive. It was my late wife returning from somewhere. She came in and placed her head on my lap. I said, I love you. And then awakened to find it was just 15 minutes till the start of the show. Well, holy cow, man.
I love you.
I know that it's kind of a bit, the entry thing, but I know that this isn't. I know that, everything you're talking about there is 100% serious. And let me get that copied in because I want to make sure you get your entry there, Esoterica. But on the point of, if people aren't aware in the audience, everything he's saying is 100% true. And I know he's gone through a very difficult loss of his wife. And I appreciate that, that maybe waiting for the show contributed with some sort of connection to her in that way. And I can tell you personally, the loss that I've experienced in my life with my brother, and it's not the same. I'm not saying it's the same, but I am saying when you lose someone who's very close to you in that way, I definitely believe in that sort of dream visitation, man. I have had so many the realest dreams I have, the ones that are indistinguishable from reality, are dreams about my brother visiting me. And I wonder if you had an experience that is similar. I mean, there are dreams I have where it's like he walks into the room and we talk about stuff that happened to me that day or that week or something that's going on in my life. And the dreams are so real that I don't even think in my conscience in the dream, like, this isn't real. He's gone. He's there in the most real sense to the degree that my brain doesn't even question it. And when you have that sort of experience, I know it can be like, well, I don't know how you process it, Esoterica, but and I know that for some, it could feel like disappointment when you wake up and you crash back into reality and you're like, oh man, that was awesome, but that's not real. And I miss that. I wish I could have it back. I never wake up from those with that feeling like, like I'm hurt by the reminder of the loss or something. It's always like a feeling of gratitude, a feeling of, wow, isn't that cool? Because it's like I've had a real connection that in everyday life outside of that dream is impossible. But I can't speak scientifically to it. I can't speak with some sort of certain knowledge. I just believe that there's something real to that it's not just like a complete figment of my brain's imagination. Like I don't know. I think there's something real to it. And I'm glad that you had that sort of visitation. And I hope that, it, just added something meaningful to your night. And I really appreciate you sharing that. And I know a lot of people have similar experiences with lost loved ones and visiting you in dreams. And it's, for me, it's been 10 plus years and they still happen maybe as frequently as like once a month. And the reason I think that they're significant too is because they always have, they not always, but they often have some connection to like a major event in my life. And maybe you had something similar, Esoterica. But it's like, my brother will come to me and it's like, we'll talk about the birth of my son, or we'll talk about like, oh, mom and dad are doing this, or we'll talk about like things that are pretty major in terms of the development of my life or my family. And like he doesn't show up and we talk about Call of Duty or something, that we used to do together that doesn't matter. It's like we talk about stuff that is real. And I like to think that there's something true in that sort of check-in in life and the development of the family that he's no longer with. But anyway, obviously that's something I think about a lot, Esoterica. And I'm really glad that you brought that up, and all the best to your family and all the best to you through that loss. And thank you for sharing that with the show. And of course, for supporting the show. Steamroller 13239, I work for Veterans Affairs. Oh, okay. So this was a callback to the Virginia thing earlier. He said the flag at the top of all government websites, 8-bit. Oh, okay. So it was a USA flag. See the IRS site. Okay, so I don't even know. Let me pull that up. Because I want to see this flag that was. Oh, you're talking about this little thing. Let me see if I can bring that up for the stream. It's really small. I don't know if you guys can see it at the very top of the screen there. I don't even know if I can zoom this in. Kind of. See the very top left corner above the IRS logo? There's a little low resolution American flag. And our chatter, let me get back to the chat. Steamroller's saying, yeah, government websites all have this tiny little 8-bit USA flag. And I guess they confuse that for a Confederate flag. He subscribes to all disingenuous arguments from the left. I just don't understand. And I'm still confused. Let me look at the last chat from you, Steamroller. Because, okay. Work for the, see, VA. My mistake. I'm an idiot.
You suck. Fuck you.
When I saw work for VA, my mind went to Virginia, not Veterans Affairs. That's how Virginia came into it. It's VA. People are losing it, fear-mongering around. Doctor actually said the little flag on all the government websites is the original Confederate flag. Oh, so, okay, so if you interpreted this literally, this is a U.S. flag. This kind of looks like the U.S. flag from the era where there were far fewer states. Like, it's not circular like Betsy Ross, but kind of leading up to the Civil War, you had U.S. flags where the stars were arranged kind of like that because we only had X amount of states. We didn't have 50, so you didn't see that many. And you didn't have, it was beyond the original 13 colonies, so you didn't have the or the original 13 states, so you didn't have the Betsy Ross design anymore. So you're saying that I assume that's what they mean by confusing it for the Confederate flag, because otherwise it doesn't look like the actual stars and bars design, you know. Anyway, thank you, Steve Roller. Sorry for the confusion. Night Mantis. The tugboat tranny club will never be caught. They can effortless that time of night. They can effortlessly shift enders or shifting enders and throw ziz in your eyes, disappearing like bat smoke. They believe themselves to be magical, apparently. The tugboat tranny club. So if they have the ability to disappear on the spot, maybe. Who knows? Thank you, Night Mantis. Very much appreciated. Over on Rumble, Dangerous Spaces says, when you're mixing ingredients to make a funfetti cake, can you pour the milk into the bowl first? No, just checking to make, so because I know you have strong feelings about that sort of thing. No, when you're mixing ingredients in that way, that's different than cereal versus cereal and milk. And I know everybody likes to troll about cereal and milk, but nobody actually pours the milk in before the cereal, because that's absolute nonsense. All right, Blankets, thank you for the memes over on Odyssey. As always, we're good on DLive, good on Rumble. Give a quick refresh over on YouTube and Tippy, and we will call it an evening. Yeah, we're all set. So let's get out of here. Thank you guys for your participation in the live show tonight. Very much appreciated, especially with your patience waiting for the Super Bowl to end. Thanks to our, by the way, I almost never mentioned the closing song I've used for this Sunday stream for so long, Bearing and his wife, Bearing and Sugar Tits, singing that song. This cover, many years old at this point, but it is played every Sunday night for the last, 8 years or whatever it's been. Thanks to Bearing for his contributions this evening. Thanks to all of you live chatters, super chatters, live viewers for making the live production a success. If you're listening later, thank you for supporting the show as well. Speaking of Bearing, find his YouTube channel, his X account, linked in the description. Thanks to Knuckle Hunky Buck for his super chat assistance. And of course, thanks to producer Tim for his help as well. If you'd like more to listen to or anything else show related, mattchristiansenmedia.com or mattis.gay. I'll be back on Sunday night, of course, Sundays and Wednesdays. Have a great night and a great week.